Thank you very much, Minister of Myanmar, for your statement. I now invite His Excellency Mr. Dionisio Babo Soares, Minister of Foreign Affairs and Cooperation of Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste. Minister, you have the floor.
Madam Chairperson, Excellencies and Honorable Head of States and Governments, Ministers, Head of Delegations, all protocol observers, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Democratic Republic of Timor-Leste, I would like to start by congratulating Your Excellency Ilham Aliyev, President of the Republic of Azerbaijan, for your assumption to the presidency of the non-aligned movement for the coming 3 years. I would also like to express deep appreciation to the government of Azerbaijan for the warm hospitality provided to me and my delegation and the excellent organization of the summit. Permit me to also express our appreciation to the government of the Bolivarian Republic of Venezuela for the excellent work stewardship of our organization during the past 3 years. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, this year marks the 64th year where the pioneers at the 1955 Asia-Africa Conference in Bandung, Indonesia, adopted the 10 principles in the declaration upon which the non-aligned movement would later be built. The Bandung principles include the principles of territorial integrity and non-interference, self-determination, and human rights. The issues upon which we would like to contribute with our views are not new in the context of this summit, as many distinguished leaders and colleagues have touched upon in their statements. Nevertheless, we consider it pertinent to also add our voice to reinforce their importance and stimulate new ideas. Over the last 6 decades, the world has experienced major transformation politically and economically, and although many global challenges remain and have grown complexity, the 10 principles are steadfast. We are witnessing with great sadness protracted conflicts which deprive millions of our sisters and brothers from the very basic rights to live in dignity and peace. These conflicts provide fertile ground to nurture extremist groups that are destabilizing our social fabric and civilization. As we are speaking, a great many of our brothers and sisters are struggling to cope with consequences of armed conflicts, terrorism, transnational crimes, and environment degradation, and the ever-increased climate change. Timor-Leste would like to take this opportunity to congratulate Mr. Antonio Guterres, the Secretary General of the United Nations, for convening the Climate Action Summit that was held in New York last month, and his continued efforts to undertake reforms of the United Nations to make it more responsive, efficient, and fit for purpose. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, as a small island nation, vulnerable to climate-induced hazards, we are also experiencing the impact of climate change. Through more intense tropical storms, which are having a devastating effect on our infrastructure and key sectors such as agriculture, which is a particular concern because a large part of our population rely on agriculture for their livelihood. Changes in sea levels and ocean acidity levels also have an impact on our coastal communities. Small island developing states and less developed countries continue to be the most vulnerable states to economic and environmental shocks, and therefore require specific measures to mitigate them, including measures to address the debt burden. Excellencies, the third International Decade for the Eradication of Colonialism, adopted by the United Nations General Assembly, is due to end next year in 2020. However, we have not seen a resolution to the remaining 17 listed non-self-governing territories. The work of the movement, enshrined in the 10 principles, which contributed to the decolonization and independence of many of the movement's own member states, including Timor-Leste, remain unfinished. The inalienable right of the people of Palestine to self-determination cannot be denied. Timor-Leste reaffirms its support for a two-state solution so the question of Palestine, and appeals to the international community to continue efforts towards a just, peaceful, and long-lasting solution, enabling the Palestinian people to be a full independent state. With regards to Western Sahara, Timor-Leste continue to believe that it is an issue of decolonization as a non-self-governing territory. To this end, we recognize the efforts made by the Secretary General's Special Envoy for Western Sahara, Mr. Horst Kohler. We hope that when the new envoy is nominated, the rounds of talks can resume and that a political and legal solution can be found, which will permit the people of Western Sahara to exercise their inalienable rights to self-determination. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, Timor-Leste continues to be concerned with the economic, commercial, and financial embargo that has been imposed against Cuba for more than 6 decades and has caused considerable impact in the lives of the people of Cuba and the development of the country. Timor-Leste firmly supports the lifting of the economic, commercial, and financial embargo and also opposes any extraterritorial measures. Acknowledging the support from numbers of NAM member states and the international community during our struggle for independence, Timor-Leste have strived to give back to the international community and is actively engaged in sharing experiences and providing support to the small G7+ group of conflict-affected countries. Through a fragile-to-fragile cooperation, we have shared experience of elections, resource management in the extraction industry, as well as advocacy on the New Deal principle to translate into action the pledge, leave no one behind. Timor-Leste believes that continued and strengthened cooperation between states, building trust through dialogue and reconciliation, are crucial to lasting peace. Before closing, Madam Chair, I wish to emphasize that the challenges we face today require collective action, cooperation, and joint efforts, require renewed political will and solidarity so that we can be effective and can ensure that all our citizens, including women, children, and the elderly, can benefit from the promise of the 1955 Bandung Principle and the 2030 Agenda and live in a life of dignity and peace for the well-being of humanity. I thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Minister. There have been swaps between Niger and Egypt.